take your time. Take your time, take your time. Take your time, take your time. Oh, oh.
Por la noche, tu programa de política e información social comienza ahora. It's Tuesday evening. Your award-winning political and information show, Listen to Me, starts now. Bueno, mi gente, it is Martes, 7 p.m. Listen to me. I'm JJ Rodriguez. I'm your host for the next hour. Yo soy tu anfitrión por la próxima hora de toda la información, noticias que tú tienes que entender. And remember, yes, I am a Republican. I'm a pro-stater, and this is an opinionated show. So if you don't like it, change the channel, change the frequency, change something, change your underwear. Get out of your underwear. I don't care, but listen to me. It is the 22nd of January of 2019. We are almost midway for the mid-month, and we have a lot of things to do. Nancy Pelosi has more wrinkles. La Speaker Pelosi tiene más arrugas que una pasa, pero quién sabe qué va a hacer. She still wants the government shutdown. She doesn't care about the furloughed employees. She doesn't want nothing as long as Trump doesn't get her wall. Me gustaría saber todos estos demócratas like Darren Soto, Val Deming, Stephanie Murphy, Maribel Cordero, Commissioner, any of those people. What have they done for you lately? Anyway, Jerry Demings, welcome as mayor of Orange County. But again, remember, I am going to be the one lighting the fire in your behind, because if you don't do what you promised you were going to do, you got to see it with me. And you know, we've invited you to come to listen to me. We've invited Val Demings. We invited Stephanie Murphy. We invited Maribel Cordero. We've invited Mayra Urbina. And they don't want to come. You know why? Because I have an opinion and it doesn't agree with them. What have they done for you lately? ¿Qué han hecho por ti? Es lo que ponderaba el presidente Trump a los negros africanos, americanos, the African American community, when Trump was telling and asking them, what has the Democratic Party done for you lately? ¿Qué ha hecho? Nosotros tenemos que entender que toda esta postura, todo este revolú lo está causando el Partido Demócrata de los Estados Unidos. The shutdown is caused by the Democratic Party of the United States. The stalemate that is happening within to have the necessary protection in our borders is done by the Democratic Party of the United States. Nancy Pelosi, Schumer says that Donald Trump is having a temper tantrum. But really, if you compare Trump's smiling face with Nancy Pelosi's prune face, and Chuck Schumer's like, no, it's not going to happen type of face, really, really, really listen to me. Escúcheme. Now, before I go on with my monologue and I present my esteemed guest of today, I have to do a shout out. You know I love sports. I love my Cubbies. I'm sorry. I love my Cubbies. I love baseball. I love all types of sports. Edgar Martinez is in the Salón de la Fama, is in the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. The votes came in and he's in. So he's another Puerto Rican along illustrious names in the Puerto Rican history of baseball that are in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So they're going to be in Cooperstown. His name is going to be enshrined in Cooperstown, and it is an honor. And you know what? It's a pity. You know why? Because if he lives in Puerto Rico, he can't vote for the president. He doesn't have votes for the Senate, and he doesn't have no congressman that represents him with voice and vote. Only one non-voting delegate. Parezco un disco rayado, ¿verdad? Yeah. I am sorry that I sound like a broken record, but the problem is that Puerto Rico for 150 years plus, has no voice, no vote in the United States Senate. United States Senate. Okay, many people are telling me, oh, JJ, that's not the magic, statehood is not the magic wand that's gonna fix every problem in Puerto Rico. No. A lot of things has to be done by Puerto Ricans. Muchas de las cosas que van a solucionarse en Puerto Rico van a ser resueltas en Puerto Rico por los puertorriqueños. Most of them, I would say 45% of the problems that mess up Puerto Rico can be fixed with 6 or 5 congressmen and 2 senators. Now, why, again, going back to what I said in the premiere show of season 3 of Listen to Me, why do Democrats don't want Puerto Rico to become a state? Very simple. 2 reasons. The first reason is they're going to lose their stronghold on a very big voting bloc within New York, Chicago, California, and other states, and in Florida, because the influx of those Puerto Ricans coming from the island will start stopping, and they'll concentrate in the island. 2, when they realize the true atrocities that the Democratic Party has committed on the Puerto Rican people, they're going to start flipping. Meaning they're going to start realizing that those voter registration drives that they were doing in the Orlando airport, in Tampa, and in Miami, telling them, oh, you're a Republican? No, here in the United States, you're a Democrat, and registered you. They're going to start saying, nah. They're going to go from Democrat to NPA, from NPA to Republican, and Puerto Rico is going to flip. Puerto Rico is going to flip. And that's why the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer give you that prune face saying, it's not Trump. People think, my phone's starting to ring. Espérate. Sorry, one moment. We're on live TV and I gotta go. Yep. Oh yeah. They're starting with their stuffs. What Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, the twin prune faces, are going to say is, no, we have bigger things to do than to tackle Puerto Rico. That is quasi baloney, turning into piles of manure that could be used to flower beds. You know what I mean? The thing of it is that Puerto Ricans here, puertorriqueños aquí en los Estados Unidos, tienen que entender que tenemos que llamar a nuestros senadores y nuestros congresistas a través de la educación. Lo que está haciendo Gary Berríos, Pastor Berríos, lo que está haciendo el licenciado Anthony Suárez, yo aquí con este programa. What these people that I've just mentioned are doing to educate people is that we have to educate the Puerto Rican population coming from the island that there is a different political system here, and integrate them into the political system so they can start calling their senators, because they've never had senators. They've never had congressmen. Can you imagine in Puerto Rico how long it took me to be able to make an appointment with my resident commissioner, because she has to take care of 3.3 million people? Come on. I could speak to my representatives, both. I would speak more to my representatives in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, easier than I could speak to Jennifer Gonzalez. And it's not to knock on her. She has a lot of damn work to do. But if Puerto Rico were broken into congressional districts, 6 congressional districts, I would tell you it's a different story. There would be more possibilities to appoint. And again, the president of the United States told the governor, who's a Democrat, who caucused for a little while with the Republicans, till the Democratic Party said, hey, what you doing? And then all of a sudden he has to start campaigning for Nelson and for Gilliam, and look what happened there. But we're gonna get it. That's another $20. We're gonna get into that in a little while. The thing of it is that we need to educate the people here, that you have the right. It's not a privilege. It's not something that the pro-colonials have stuffed down your throat, that you have a privilege. You have a freaking right to walk to your senator, to walk to your state representatives and say, hey, dude, what are we going to do about Puerto Rico? I should always say that we have to do it in a civil way, but we have to be vocal about it. And we could be vocal in a civil way. Letters, emails, visitations, appointments. See your elected officials. See those people that have the gatekeepers. Talk to them. Invite them to activities. And see what we need to do to be able to make Puerto Rico a state. Well, that's my monologue and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, we are very gracious to have a very good guest, a very good friend of mine, and he's a person of very much importance, even though he's a very humble man. Why? Because he's the chairman of the Orange County Republican Executive Committee. This organization is the main branch of the RPOF here in Orange County, and it's in charge of precincts, many plethora of things. Let's put it this way. If you've ever wanted to know how government works, that is the organization that you have to be a part of to be able to see how government works. And it's a very interesting organization. I've had the honor of being a part, in and out, of that organization since 1993. But now I feel that this organization is moving forward in leaps and bounds towards a brighter future. And with me, I have the honorable chairman of the Orange County Republican Executive Committee, my friend Charles Hart. How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing great, Jay. And let me tell you, that was a great monologue. That was a great monologue. Honestly, bravo, my friend. That was a pleasure to see you do the monologue. So I'll pay $20 to also hear your opinion.
Thank you.
You're way too kind. It's you know, Jay's a member of OCREC, as he said, and it's a pleasure to be involved with people like Jay, and I just want to thank you for being here. And again, that was a great monologue.
Thank you. So Charles, before we go into your what's going on for OCREC, we do have a message because off the air, you and we looked at the internet, and Telemundo and Univision has not said anything about that. Mr. Miguel Montes, if possible, please. Ladies and gentlemen, with all due respect, we have the Vice President of the United States in a special message to the people of Venezuela. Mi gente, el Vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos, Mike Pence, con un mensaje para el pueblo venezolano que está aquí en los Estados Unidos. Por favor, el Vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos, Mike Pence.
Hola, I'm Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States. And on behalf of President Donald Trump and all the American people, let me express the unwavering support of the United States as you, the people of Venezuela, raise your voices in a call for freedom. Nicolas Maduro is a dictator with no legitimate claim to power. He's never won the presidency in a free and fair election, and he's maintained his grip of power by imprisoning anyone who dares to oppose him. The United States joins with all freedom-loving nations in recognizing the National Assembly as the last vestige of democracy in your country, for it's the only body elected by you, the people. As such, the United States supports the courageous decision by Juan Guaidó, the President of your National Assembly, to assert that body's constitutional powers, declare Maduro a usurper, and call for the establishment of a transitional government. As you make your voices heard tomorrow, on behalf of the American people, we say to all the good people of Venezuela, estamos con ustedes. We are with you. We stand with you. And we will stay with you until democracy is restored and you reclaim your birthright of libertad. Muchas gracias y vayan con Dios.
Thank you so much. That was Vice President Mike Pence speaking about Maduro and his dictatorial regime in Venezuela. But that is a breath of fresh air to all Venezuelans. Y lo voy a hacer en español. I'm going to say it in Spanish a moment. Hay que entender que el vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos ha llamado a capítulo al dictador Maduro. Y una de las personas que me dio luz a este video fue Mila Márquez, que ella también estaba aquí en Listen to Me. One of the persons that gave me the first light of this video, as well as Mr. Miguel Montes has just illustrated to me that almost all Venezuelans living in the United States has diffused this video of the vice president. It's very important to understand that in Venezuela, there is no medicine, there's shortages of food, and they're still killing students in the streets by sicarios that are under Maduro's regime. And that cannot happen. This is a country that has been stagnated. If any example is ever needed, and we're going to talk about that in a little while, because it almost happened here in Florida, that socialism is not the way to go, is Venezuela. Okay? And Charles, now that you, it's the first time that you heard that message from Vice President Pence, right, Charles?
Yes, it was.
What do you think? What are your humble opinions?
Well, Maduro's a monster.
Yes.
And what kills me, though, and this is something too, is, I don't know current geopolitical oil reserve supplies, but I know that when I was growing up, after Saudi Arabia, the number two country in the world with the second largest oil reserve was Venezuela, and OPEC.
Yeah,
and OPEC.
yeah.
I think the Soviet Union, the United States maybe had something in there, but look, to have no medicine, to have no food, and to sit on all that oil. I forget the name of the lake. The giant seawater lake. It's not really a lake because it's brackish water.
Yep.
And that's where the oil is.
Yep.
And also on top of that too, is my understanding is there's like a constant lightning storm over it as well.
Yep. There is.
It's a really, if you've never gotten a chance to look at it, I mean,
It is a spectacle. It's a spectacle in itself.
Yeah.
And it's
the
true.
natural beauty and the wealth, the mineral wealth that the country has, for them to be this broke, and not to be just this broke, but be this broke because of just a couple people at the top that just are so greedy they don't want to share anything else with anybody else's. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Well, there's even conspiracy theories that are claiming that Maduro is a Colombian-born citizen instead of a natural-born Venezuelan. So by constitutional law, he's not permitted to hold the post. So there's a lot of lying and a lot of things that are going on that state. And again, there are rumors that there's drug lords, that there are basically. How could I say that Venezuela could be an example of the first narcos country, not state, country, because their governors and city councils throughout Venezuela has lined their pockets with money from drug dealings. Drug is not only not pouring from Colombia anymore; it's pouring through Venezuela. And starving their people and killing dissidents. They've squashed it. They've squashed all opposition is squashed. They've killed army generals that has rised up against them. They've killed police chiefs, deputies. Mila Marquez, my former co-host here in the show, she has people that are lawyers that literally, Charles, can you imagine being woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning and being told you have two choices, whether you die or you leave the country?
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. But if I could say this is, you have to be a special kind of evil to be worse than Hugo Chavez. I mean, I didn't think it could be worse than Hugo Chavez. And this guy, Maduro, is even worse. It's amazing to me.
There's Charles, there's even videos of Maduro in a bridge shooting at protesters. Can you imagine that? And he's president of Venezuela right now.
It's just sad what's happened. And the sad reality of it is that, it's for, look, it's easy for us to say it's sad, but think about the poor people there, and think about the people that don't know any better, that don't know freedom, that don't know economic prosperity, that go to sleep at night hungry, and that's all they think that they got. They think that's their world, And then the sad reality of it is that going forward, they look at countries like the United States and they say, "Why didn't you help us?" So there's like a natural kind of animosity that starts rising up about what the United States is and what we're about, because they're like, you believed in freedom so much. Why didn't you ever help us? You believed in democracy. Why didn't you ever help us? All you did is you guys stood around like what we did under Barack Obama and didn't do anything. That's the first time I've ever seen that strong of a message out of the White House.
Yeah, oh yeah, and also and President Trump also has, but for the vice president in Spanish to say Dios lo bendiga and to say que estamos contigo, it's very, very powerful, because we are not abandoning those that need help. We are not abandoning, and it goes back into the immigration tie-in. I don't mind people coming here legally to work or to try and look for prosperity, but the truth is we need to put an enema into the immigration system and fix it. We need to make it a little bit more like what Ellis Island used to be. We understand that we have to do a lot of vetting, but there's a lot of problems that the immigration department and the immigration system needs to be corrected before we could get the backlog out. One, two. We have to be careful, because the Democrats want to play on words. Oh, the drugs doesn't come through our southern borders. So what's the southern border? It's a port of entry. Mm-hmm. So you want to play with words. Okay. We have to secure the ports of entry. Here's this one for you Democrats to blow your mind. We got to secure the ports of entry so that drugs don't come in, arms don't come in, humans don't come in, because it's the only thing that's being smuggled is not drugs, it's people.
Well, I have an interesting point of view because I'm a criminal defense attorney. Mm-hmm. Is, let me tell you, people come to America expecting, for suddenly, for example, everybody in America owns a flat screen TV that's 88 inches long and it takes up the whole wall. And, everybody comes to America and expects, well, I'm going to own 17 iPhones and, I'm going to drive a Mercedes and this. And what happens is people come, they discover that, and people in America discover this too. Well, that's not going to be my life. So what do? They start getting desperate. They take out big, remember the housing crisis that we had. Yeah. Crime. They turn to crime. And the thing is the drugs suddenly that don't come through that southern port of entry, suddenly they come in someplace else. And you know what happens? You see the crime come in, and that's just as bad, because imagine you come all the way, you make the trek all the way from someplace where it was bad, you had no hope, you had no future. You get here and you discover same thing. It's sad. It's sad what the left has done to the United States of America, and that they've taken away the idea of opportunity for all, and they've said that, well, there should only really be opportunity for those that we say deserve it.
And Charles, but meanwhile, while all of that is happening, the Democratic delegation goes to Puerto Rico and vacation. Do they care about the furloughed employees? No. Do they care about DACA? No. Hell no. As long as they get their piña coladas, and you better be darn sure they get a little umbrella, because if they don't get an umbrella in their piña coladas, they're going to raise hell. Well, oh my God.
Well, and this is something about that too that I find amazing, is that they made such an issue of Hurricane Maria hitting Puerto Rico and the death tolls and the destruction. Do you think that the money they spent on their vacation and lounging around in luxury resorts could have been better spent on just buying some people hey, I know that you lost your couch a couple years ago and here's your old couch or whatever have you. Buying people furniture, buying people clothes, buying people stuff that they've lost. Because I'll tell you what, listen, I know this much. I'm a heavyset guy. I lose a shirt. It's like a funeral in my home, right? I lost a shirt. It's a funeral. So people that lost all of their possessions in the hurricane, you can't tell me that. What is it now? About a year and a half later.
Yeah, year and a half.
Maybe two going on two.
When the hurricane season starts this season, it's going to be on 2.
Yeah, and you can't tell me that people are all right.
You know no.
What I mean? That things are perfect.
No.
And all that money could have been used so much in so many better ways. And you know what? We always talk about giving to someone that, hey, look, give to somebody that deserves something. Well, the people they got hit with a Category 5 hurricane.
Split right down the middle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on. Miami, they still talk about Andrew.
Oh yeah,
You know,
and
so
even,
you think they're talking about Hurricane Maria now? I mean, come on.
and even the Panhandle that just got hit
Michael.
also, Michael. So but look how the different. You look at the difference again. Colony, state. Look what Michael did. Michael ripped part of the Panhandle the same way Maria ripped the island. It ripped through proportionally the same amount of land mass between Puerto Rico and Michael in the Panhandle, yet the Panhandle is recuperating at a faster rate as Puerto Rico. Charles, for us in America, well, duh, they got their core of congressmen in that area. The congressmen that are in that area of the Panhandle are teaming up and working with Congress to have voice and vote, and they're talking with other states, and they're doing compromises, and they're doing deals. What the hell does Puerto Rico have?
We need to stop treating Puerto Rico like a separate country and treat them like a state. You know, and it's time for the Republican Party to back up its look. And this is where things start getting interesting. Is, you know, for a long time, both parties had in their platforms that we were going to move our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know this much: the Republican Party has part of its platform to make Puerto Rico the 51st state.
Yeah,
it's time we do it.
It is.
It's time.
It is.
It's time.
It is time that happens.
If
But
I
again,
can give you credit, you know, you said something to me that was the best argument I've ever heard for statehood. You know what it is for
What?
Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
It's called World War One.
Yep.
It's called World War Two. It's called the Korean War. It's called Vietnam. It's called the Persian Gulf War.
Yep.
It's called the war. What is it? What was it? Desert
Storm, Desert Shield,
and then Iraqi Freedom.
and Iraqi Freedom.
I'm
Every
not trying to diminish
conflict.
any veteran by not remembering.
Oh,
I'm just
no.
saying we fought the war on terror, and like, look, I know the brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico, the sons and daughters of Puerto Rico. They're on the front lines every day, and you know, why aren't they? You know, I mean, look, yes, they're American citizens, but you know what though? They deserve representation. They deserve representation.
That is the only way we can negotiate and deal with other states and the federal government to be able to lobby for the betterment of Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, we have come to the death and conclusion of what the colony was going to serve Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, the pro-colony state of Estado Libre Asociado was supposed to help Puerto Rico come out of its poor state. And what happens? Well, the las 936, the tax exemptions, why did it elapse and why couldn't it be renewed? Why? Because other states were not going to give tax exemptions to Puerto Rico that should have been given to their states. So that's why the 939 tax exempts elapsed, because we didn't have representation in Congress. When those things elapse, those tax incentives elapse, Corco left. Many big companies left Puerto Rico, and that's when the decline started. And then all of a sudden, the governors of Puerto Rico said, "Oh, wait a minute, junk bonds is the solution." Bah, bah, bah. And then all of a sudden, just like the housing, the floor came out, and millions of people lost their pensions, their monies. Puerto Rico was downgraded. Right now, they're still negotiating their debt with an entity called COFINA, which is what under the oversight board. That's the organization that is negotiating with the pension plans and all the other people that are owed money. And you know what the people of COFINA said? If you don't give us our money, we're gonna sue you. We're gonna sue you, because they want their money, and we understand that. But the only thing that will solve Puerto Rico's problem, and I'm sorry that I'm saying it, is statehood. Because without voice in the Senate, voice and vote in the Senate, without voice and vote of 5 to 6 congressmen, our congressional delegation in the House of Representatives, Puerto Rico will not be able to get out of its problems. Now, like I said in my opening monologue, what can we do here in the United States? We have to start educating people on making phone calls, making letters, emails to senators and congressmen, whether they are Republican or Democrats. We don't care. They're members of Congress. What is the Constitution says? Says that we as citizens have the right to address our grievances with our elected officials. Right or wrong? Mm-hmm. So,
but we don't give that option though to Puerto Rico, and I don't understand why. And you know what's funny about it too is that, look, to me it's along these lines. And it bared it out with Maria. Is you're a resident of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. You can go to Florida, you can go to Georgia, you can go to New York, and then you can vote. You can literally vote. You can register and vote right there. Well, what would happen if, the 3 million folks in Puerto Rico said, we're going to take a vacation holiday of like 3 months and go vote in Florida's election in 2020 or in Texas in 2020? I guess that would get someone's attention. I guess finally, but why go down that road?
Charles, it got the attention of Gilliam because the DeSantos and Rick Scott and Bill Nelson got the attention of the Puerto Ricans in the Osceola Orange County border. Why? Because Rick Scott kicked his butt in those precincts, and DeSantos did the same thing. But we'll get that. That's another $20. We get to that. But yeah, keep on your point. Yeah, that is true.
It just, to me, I don't understand it. Ever since I was a child, I didn't understand it. Because look, I lived in the military. My father was the United States Air Force, so I had friends from all walks of life, and that was the one thing was when I go over to my friend's house from Puerto Rico, I never understood that you know what I mean. Like there's 50 states and you guys. Well, why is that? There's you guys. You guys are Americans. You're not you guys. You're American citizens, and it's disgraceful to me. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm speaking personally, but to me, if I had the power, I would make Puerto Rico a state today because look, it's about time. And I mean, it's not just about time. The time is now. And
you voice the same sentiment, not only from a local level, but also from state and federal levels. Even presidents, from President Reagan, the mistake that people from Puerto Rico think is that the presidency has the power to somehow change the status in Puerto Rico. And it isn't, Charles. We are mandated by the territorial clauses of the Constitution of the United States, and it's Congress who has the power to oversee. It wasn't the president.
Office of Insular Affairs.
Yeah, it's the Office of Insular Affairs. You're totally right. So it is tied upon that Congress. It wasn't the president that sent the oversight board to Puerto Rico. It wasn't Obama. It wasn't Trump. They say, oh, Trump was throwing paper towels. Everybody was laughing. Get over it, brother. The guy likes to make light heart. He wasn't hurting anybody. He was throwing paper towel. Get over it. Jesus Christ. They want to. It's like when Governor Rosselló and President Trump were talking that he pressed and he said, and the president said, oh, you're going to get me in trouble. And says, people say, oh, well, why is he going to get the president in trouble? Because it's not the president who makes a decision about Puerto Rico. The president, the only duty he has to do is to sign the admission bill once it's approved by the House of Representatives and the United States Senate. So that's it. That is it. That is it. Do not blame a person that is not the person to be blamed. Don't bark up a door or don't bark up a tree that is the wrong tree.
But can I say something though, Jay?
Sure.
And it goes like this. People are so tired of hearing politicians just talk. And we've been doing it for so long. And so it's like, if you're, you can't blame someone. What's is interesting is when I was in law school, I was the research assistant for a law professor, and he was from Puerto Rico, and he wrote a lot of books, and I actually indexed one of his books, so I read a lot about he talked about colonies, and he was, and obviously his major focus was on Puerto Rico, and and the thing is you can't blame though people to feel just kind of like people just are just running their mouth. You know what I mean? And here comes someone like Donald Trump that says it. It's almost like this. It's like, look, when Donald Trump says something, Donald Trump is thinking about how to get it done. But Donald Trump doesn't mince words. That's what I've noticed about the guy, is he doesn't mince words. So, it's like a breath of fresh air. But at the same token, though, there's a lot of people out there that don't think that he's going to do it. And, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that, in the next 6 years, we're proven to be very wrong, because it's time. Look, there's so much that we can gain out of another state. And, and one of the things is that, and this is maybe the most important, we can treat, if the Democratic Party believes in equality of outcomes, and they say it over and over again, you know what I mean? Equality, egalitarian, you know what I mean? We're at the party of egalitarian principles. That's what the Democrats. Then, well, isn't that there by the very nature of how we treat Puerto Rico unequal, right?
Look, I don't applaud what happened in the 50s when Truman was president and Congress was attacked by nationalists. But it was a Democratic president with Truman who then decided that he was going to bombard American soil, and he bombarded the city of Jayuya, Puerto Rico. I understand it, but the thing of it is that there was a total Democratic disconnect, and there were senators at the time. And again, people are going to tell me those were different times, but
well, you know what? Listen, I'm a student of history, and one of the things I remember reading it. I don't know all the details, but I always remember hearing about that. That's kind of like blaming the cows for seeing the fox rob the hen house. It's kind of like, why are you doing? I don't know. It's so, our policies regarding Latin America, in my opinion, have been we don't have a consistent policy.
Nope.
And it starts with Puerto Rico.
And
it starts right there.
And they blamed Truman and the Democratic Party of the time, and Harry S. Truman, the president, blamed both the Nationalist Party, the Independentista Party, and the pro-statehood party. Why they tied the pro-statehood party to this mess is beyond me. And again, I was not born at the time, but everything that I've read in the history books, everything that I've learned from God rest his soul, Don Luis Aferré, third governor of Puerto Rico, he was my political mentor. This guy, this man is one of the richest men in Puerto Rico, and he would open his museum to people kids that were poor. And he would play international films. That's how I fell in love with films. That's how I fell in love with arts, was because of that. And he always told me, would talk to me and my father, who was a founding member of the Republican Party of Ponce, Puerto Rico, Don Jose Rodriguez Intron. He would take children, and he would tell them of the story of how he had phone calls with President Truman, and how President Truman was lambasting that Puerto Ricans were not doing enough to quell the revolution that was inside of Puerto Rico. And the governor at the time, Luis Aferré, was saying, dude, there's only 800 of these people. At that time, Puerto Rico was 2.2 million. You're putting everything on 800 people towards the fate of 2.2 million people. And that was the great exodus of in the 50s. That's when a lot of people left Puerto Rico again.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too: is we wanted this. You know what I mean? I mean, when I say we wanted this, I mean the Spanish-American War was a war of empire. Mm-hmm. We wanted Spain's possessions, and Puerto Rico was one of them. And we didn't give it away like we did Cuba. We didn't give it away like we did the Philippines. So it's on us. We wanted this. We obviously wanted the territory. We've kept it. Well, I mean, look at what we did with Texas. Look at what we did with Arizona. Look at what we did with the Louisiana Purchases. Look at what we did with Alaska. All these different possessions we turned into states. So 150 years later, it's time. I mean, it's just simply time. And
the track record is good. Every territory that has asked for admission into the state has been admitted with resistance, but it has been admitted. Yeah. So we got to get there. Well, brother, again, Puerto Rico, the topic of Puerto Rico is something I could speak for like days and days and days. But anyway, Charles, there is a new leadership both in the RPOF and in OCREC. tell us your plans. Tell us what is that shining outlook for 2019 right now.
Well, what's funny is that JJ, I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. One of the things we're going to do with OCREC is we're going to start up a committee. We don't know what we're going to call it yet, and we've named a chairman. His name is you might know him. His name is Jay Rodriguez.
Yes, I know. Yes.
And we're going to start espousing the Republican Party platform, which is statehood for Puerto Rico.
Good.
And
so I'm very honored to be a part of that committee.
Hey, listen, we're proud to have you.
Thank you.
We're going to start doing a lot more community outreach. We're going to start going around to events around Orange County. We're going to start working on trying to build up our precinct organization inside of our precincts, and we're going to start trying to reach out to the MPAs. Because right now in Orange County we are only 26. Republican Party is only 26% of the vote. Democrats are 42. Then you have the MPAs coming in like I think 36, and then you have the Constitutional Party and the Book Party, and I'm just making up some names there like the Book Party, but you have that's a thing. And to go back, if I can go back, is in America we have so many different opportunities for people to express their values. And here we are basically saying to Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans, well, you can express your values in this non-committal presidential primary that you get for the Democrats. You can send a representative to the House of Representatives. They don't really get much any real power. Their vote's like an advisory vote. You don't get someone in the Senate, and your voices can't be heard. But yet here in Florida, if you want to go join the what is it? The people that what is it? Seinfeld with the poll. What is it? What's that group? What was it? The Festivus.
The Green Party?
No.
You said Steinfeld. You're right. Green Party. What? Where? What?
Festivus. What was that? There's literally people that wanted to have a Festivus poll from Seinfeld in the state capitol with all the other religious.
They want like a totem pole or something. Yeah.
Right. And they wanted that. There's people in the state of Florida that when they get their pictures on their driver's license, they want to get it with like a colander, like a spaghetti colander, because they believe in this is serious now. They believe in the great flying spaghetti monster is their god. And that's like their religious hat that they have to wear. And and we're going to treat that, but yet somebody that's serious about being a statehood guy from Puerto Rico, no, we need to talk about later on down the road. And mind you, there is that's the interesting thing that you said. There are six congressional districts. I kind of wonder if the Democrats aren't afraid of losing that from states like California and New York.
They are because they again the propensities. And Stephanie Murphy doesn't really like me. Val Demings really doesn't like me. I pressed them because
that's good. They don't like me either. So
they say, no, JJ, you're ignorant. You don't know how the strategy of this works. And all of a sudden, I read that Val Demings is now part of a advisory board for the Intelligence Committee. I'm like, really? This is your strategy to get Puerto Rico in here? What the hell? And I'm glad because I want to do with this committee not only educate my fellow Americans from Puerto Rico that are here in the state of Florida. One, that they shouldn't be afraid of making contact with their elected local officials, county-wise, state-wise, and federal-wise. That we have to educate them on what the two-party system of the true Democrats and the true Republicans are, because it's the true Democrats that want to eliminate all the statues of the Confederacy because they were the ones that started the Confederacy in the first place. And they're the ones that they don't say that they made the KKK, but they were all Dixiecrats. No. So yes, I am glad to take that mantle for you, and I'm glad that OCREC is doing something to finally include Americans that are from Puerto Rico, like Americans that are from other parts of the world that have made generation through generation the United States, Florida, the great state of Florida, their home.
Well, and then that's the other interesting thing too. Is and you touched on it there, is that I think that the problem the Republican Party has had is we worry more about optics than we do about the words. And the words that we use is what's important. That's what's going to attract people to our banner. That's why Reagan was able to, flip the South, so to speak.
Yep.
That's the reason why I think we're going to turn a lot of Puerto Rican voters into Republican voters, because look, you can't convince me after how things have gone, how Puerto Rico's been treated, that they want to be Democrats under some more Democratic rule. I mean, let's face it. Look, a good friend of mine, actually he's the county chairman in Palm Beach County. His name's Mike Barnett, and Mike Barnett's mother, his father died, and then his mother married someone from Puerto Rico, and they moved to Puerto Rico, and they lived in Puerto Rico. In fact, Mike was there for like 8 years of his life. And the thing is that you hear the stories, and he lived in New York as well. And what it comes down to is this: is that look, you live underneath this hopeless dictatorship of democratic ideals, which basically boils down to do what we say, not as we do. Live as we tell you to live, not as you want to live. Obey our rules, but don't hold us accountable when we break those rules. And you can get by. And let me tell you something: America is not a country of getting by, and neither is Puerto Rico.
That is true. That is true. And another thing, they like to spend other people's money, not their own.
Like in the shutdown?
Oh yeah. And basically they wanna also make sure you could stay here, but don't stay across from my house.
Oh yeah. Or you can come to New York and you can vote for us, but you can't date my daughter. Or that school isn't really a school for you. It's like, what? No. I mean, listen, what's funny about me is I'm the first male in my family to go to school. You know what I mean? I mean, not like high school, elementary school, but college. I'm the first professional in my family. And that's the reality of it. America is a place where we all start the race at the same place, but it's our ambition, our drive that gets us to the finish line. And the great thing about America is you don't know where the finish line is, because like for you, a finish line could be you're the next Rush Limbaugh. For me, the next finish line could be is I'm the next F. Lee Bailey or Johnny Cochran or some other, unfortunately, liberal lawyers. All the great lawyers, unfortunately, for the most part, seem to be a little liberal. How about this, Clarence Thomas? I could be the next Clarence Thomas.
Cool. I would. Yes, I approve that. I approve this message.
But that's the great thing about our country, and see, and that's the thing about it. And listen, it's bothered me for a long time. And what's funny is I've never really gotten to share my viewpoints on what I've learned. And what's funny is they've been shaped through living overseas, meeting Puerto Ricans. They've been shaped through working in politics, and they've been shaped through, when I worked for a summer for this law school professor, is that I never have understood why we put that cap on the people of Puerto Rico to say that, well, you're not really good enough to be a state. Well, that's basically saying to, the 3.1 million people, 3.2, you know what I mean? Well, your voices isn't equal to mine. Well, I'm a big believer in this listen, I'm a pretty smart guy, and I think I'm right a lot, right? But I know this much. I know I'm not. You know what I mean?
But
so,
yeah,
so what
is...
makes my viewpoint any better? Like, look, for example, JJ, I know that if we sit down here right now, that there's going to be some ideas that you have that are much better than mine. Like a great idea JJ has, and if I can just kind of flash it.
Sure.
Is JJ came up with this idea of doing like a swap meet, like a flea market. You know what I mean? And inviting people out to, JJ's exact words is, "This is America. Everybody has something to sell."
Yeah.
And it's a great idea. And literally, I could have lived my entire life. I'm 44 now. I could live till I'm 88. I would never have thought of that. And it's a great idea. It's a great idea. If you listen to people's voices, we can all get that much further ahead. And that's what our country's about. And so I don't get it. I don't understand the Democrats, and what I found, again, just funny as heck. Where do they go in the middle of this shutdown? They went to Puerto Rico. It's like, really? Really, guys? You went there? Do you think that the people in Puerto Rico are... Listen, I remember one of the most poignant things that ever happened in my life was I was in Miami at FIU for my first year of law school. And I went to someone's house, and they, 20 years later, literally, they're telling me in their house 21 years later, it was what was it, 93? So it was 20, no, it was 21 years later, 2004.
2004.
They still remembered Andrew. And they were like, we were in the bathroom soaking wet as a hurricane ripped the roof off our house. And this is 21 years later. So how do you think about the poor people in Puerto Rico just a mere 2 years later, less than 2? I'm sure the Democrats were like living it up in their nice luxury hotel. And, the people that were bringing them their food, taking care of them, driving to and from the airport. I'm sure all those people were going back to houses that still, they're just getting their lives back together. Wouldn't it have been nice if maybe the Democrats had not maybe, put that on them, so to speak? You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true. And one of the things of it is that it's kind of funny, but it's always been the same thing with the Democratic Party. They get control. They say they have the mandate of the people, and then they do totally the opposite of what the people mandated them, and then they question themselves, why did we lose?
Yeah. Well, there's a great line from The Simpsons of Homer Simpson's father, Abe Simpson. Lisa and Bart start making cartoon plots, and they're doing it underneath Grandpa's name because he can get the checks. And there's this moment where they're like, Grandpa, didn't you ever wonder where the money came from? And he's like, I thought it was because the Democrats were back in power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought the Democrats.
Yeah, I remember because he was always getting that free check.
Yeah.
And again, that's what we have to kind of and I love that entitlements. That's another thing that we have to fight, and we have to say, look, do you really want the government to control where you live, what you wear, what you do, what doctor do you see? And we saw it here in Florida. The elections was pretty close. Gilliam wanted to give everything out the house: free housing, free education, free clothing. I think he even said free food from the restaurant, or the restaurant was under investigation. I really don't know, but something. He wanted to give everything out: free education, everything.
Watch out for the free lunch. That's a rule. Watch out for the free lunch, because there's always a stipulation in it that you don't want to deal with. And that's the thing. It's like,
It's bad. It's bad. Anyway, my dear brother, and OCREC, can we shoot out where we're going to have the next OCREC meeting? Can we invite guests? Or?
Yes, absolutely. And if you'd like to come down. It's 99 Mark Street, Orlando, Florida. And I think it's
the Mark Senior Center.
Yeah, Mark Senior Center. Hold on, I'll get the address.
Cool. So, people, make sure that, así que si ustedes quiere saber cómo funciona el Partido Republicano aquí a nivel de Orange County, venga a it's the 24th, right? Thursday,
Yes.
the 24th?
Thursday the 24th at 6:45 p.m. Mark Street Senior Center, 99 East Mark Street, Orlando, Florida, 32803.
Fantastic. And there's also new leadership in RPOF. What can you tell me a little bit of that?
Okay. Well, last weekend, not the AFC NFC championship weekend that was so disastrous, but but the weekend before that, there was a new man was elected chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. His name is Joe Gruters, and then there was a new vice chairman elected too, and his name is Christian Ziegler. And the best way to describe him is that Joe is a state senator, and he's very close with Donald Trump. He was endorsed by Ron DeSantis. So there is the issue of the two of them are basically, we have some unity for the first time in a long time in the Republican Party of Florida. And with that unity, we're hoping that we'll see a lot more fundraising going on, a lot more local candidate support. Because the thing is that previously, the parties have, America's never really had strong political parties, like party bosses. We've had Tammany Hall and that, but what had happened was it had kind of atrophied out to the point that there wasn't as much, and then also too, some of it may have been also the local leadership as well in some places, but there wasn't a lot of help from the state party down to the locals, and now I think that's going to change, and I think that you're going to see a lot more pushes on the local front. I think that Donald Trump. I know this much. Gruters was one of the first people on the Donald Trump train. So I know him and the president are very close. And I think that you're going to see a lot more pushing of the president's agenda. Also, too, we have a governor that just doesn't take anything from anybody. I mean,
That's
he suspended Israel. He suspended Booker in Palm Beach. And then also, too, is I believe he retroactively went back and accepted Brenda C. Snipes' resignation and said, okay, goodbye.
Bye, see ya. Yeah, so that's really good that the Republican Party is moving forward. And brother, did you like your time here?
Oh, it
Have
was
you had
awesome.
some fun?
I would love to come back anytime.
Do you think that at least once a month that we could have you on?
I
and
would
we
love,
could,
I would love to. I would
yeah.
love to.
All right, all
Anytime.
right.
I mean, listen, to watch the monologue. You guys should. I hope you watch on. First off, listen. I've known you now for almost 8 months.
8 months, yeah.
And let me tell you something. You are even more dynamic here than you are out there. And that's
Thank you.
usually people are, no, you are the man.
Well, I'm glad, and I respect that Lou Marine and you are starting a vetting process for people that want to become a candidate. And humbly and respectfully, I would like to let you know that if you do not have somebody that would want to run in House 49, I think it is, Carlos Guillermo Smith. Yep. I would like to take him on.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about that.
All right. So I really think that there's a lot of things that could be done in that district that have not been done. And I guess a beer and a burger would be nice to be able to talk to you about those ideas.
I would love that.
And
I would love to call you State Representative Jay Rodriguez.
That sounds really cool. But I do wish to let you know that I will submit to whatever vetting processes you guys have, and I am grateful that you guys are beginning some sort of a structure, because I do think that the outright slugging it is not the right approach that we should take to be able to win or to make Orange County red again. Yeah. And we've talked to this again, but I'm mentioning also the Osceola Orange County border, that Rick Scott had won some of those precincts, and Ron DeSantis had won those, because those were heavily Democratic. Those had been places that were voting heavily for Bill Nelson in the past. I mean, almost 100%. And to make these dents is proof that the stronghold of the Democratic Party can be snapped, and it can be snapped by education. Gary Barrios did a hell of a job down there, and we got to start mimicking that. That's what we got to do. But if I can
say, though, you do a great job too. I mean, listen.
Oh yeah,
I sat here.
I do.
Look, unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish, and I read a little bit. And when you put up Telemundo, and they did report on that from the vice president.
Yes, Telemundo.
They're focusing on the shutdown.
They're focusing on the shutdown. Univision is focusing on the Supreme Court's mentioning of the extension on DACA, or the suspension of anything to do with DACA, which is cool, because I understand. I don't want amnesty, but I don't want all these people to be kicked out. We have to come to a healthy compromise. But that the vice president has spoken in favor of the people of Venezuela, and these two major news outlets are not.
Well, if it was, put the shoe on the other foot too. If it was a conservative leader, let's just say it wasn't Maduro. Let's say it was Billy Bob. Okay, for lack of a better argument.
Yep.
And he was shooting at people, or he was doing this, if he was raping the people of his own country to line his own pockets, oh my God, it would be all we would talk about on.
Oh my God, Rachel Maddow would have a commission. You know what Billy Bob did?
Yes.
He did this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they killed Kenny.
Yeah.
That would be.
I would say it, but we're on radio.
Oh my God, they killed Kenny. Yep. That Rachel Maddow would had 4 segments about that. Anyway, my brother.
I'll be your Kyle anytime, by the way. You're
Thank
Stan,
you.
I'm Kyle. Okay?
Thank you. My dear brother, again, you want to shoot out the address, the date and time of the OCREC meeting. Mi gente, la dirección que va a dar Charles es, si ustedes quieren ser invitados, if you want to be guests, invitados para que vean lo que es OCREC. See what OCREC is. Si ustedes son republicanos, if you are Republicans, then you could become part of OCREC. But if not, come and visit us. Check us out.
Thursday, January 24th, 2019, 6:45 p.m., 99 East Mark Street, Orlando, Florida, 32803. And the place is called the Mark Street Senior Center.
Bueno, mi gente, en el Mark Senior Center, en Mark Street, en Downtown Orlando, ahí es donde va a ser la reunión el jueves a partir de las 6:15 de la tarde. Charles, anything else that you'd like to add before we go?
You're awesome. And I hope, And the goal of a guest is to make the host look good. I hope I made you look good.
Oh yeah, you did, brother. Even though we are here to educate, aquí estamos para educar, but we are an opinionated show. I will never apologize about that, but I'll repeat it often because I know that there are liberal and Democrats that are going like, what the hell are you saying? And you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, listen to me. I'm JJ Rodriguez. This is another show in the book. And remember, we are season 3, papi. Sufre. Bye.
The term calling mostly as a human construct.